The film starts and we see three best friends, Sarah, Juno, and Beth, were feeling the excitement of rafting amidst the strong waves. Adventure was an important part of their lives, and such adventurous trips were common for them. Their rafting trip was on its last leg, and they were slowly moving toward the shore. At the riverbank, Sarah's daughter Jessica and her husband Paul were waiting for her impatiently. Seeing Sarah, her daughter Jessica got excited. When the three of them came to the shore, Jessica moved towards Sarah. But Sarah's husband Paul got a little too busy with Juno instead of her. He was treating her as if she was his girlfriend. Sarah could not ignore this behavior, but at that time she did not say anything. After that, Paul moved towards his car. Sarah also took Jessica with her. Sarah, Jessica, and Paul were going home in their car. Today was Jessica's birthday, and because of this, Sarah and she were very happy. But Paul was a little lost. Sarah asked him about this. For a while his attention drifted, and then the Jeep coming from the front collided with his car. Due to the heavy collision, the iron pipe on the Jeep broke the car's glass and went through Paul's head. Sarah and Jessica were badly injured. When Sarah opened her eyes in the hospital, she found out that Jessica and Paul had died in this accident. Her world was shattered in a moment. 1 year later, Sarah and Beth came to America from England to meet Juno and were moving towards the Appalachian Mountains. Juno had made a cave diving plan with Sarah and Beth, in which they were going to explore a cave named Borum Cave in the Appalachian Mountains. These three friends were going to meet each other after a year. The next day after Sarah's accident, Juno had gone back to America. Because of this, Beth was still angry with her. She believed that Sarah needed her the most at that time. At that time, Juno should have been with Sarah. After a short while, Sarah and Beth reached a cottage where Juno was waiting for them. In the cottage, Sarah and Beth met another old friend of theirs, Rebecca, and her younger sister Sam. Juno had invited both of them to join this adventure. After this, Juno introduced Sarah and Beth to her new companion Holly. The next day, everyone was moving towards Borum Caves with full preparation. After going a little far from the car, they had to walk to the cave. Everyone started taking necessary things from the car. They also had a guidebook for that cave, but Juno did not feel the need for it. She left the guidebook in the car. Then everyone started walking with all the necessary things, and Juno began showing them the way to the cave. Everyone reached a place through the forest where there was a deep, dark pit like a well. First of all, Juno went down using the rope. Everyone got down one by one at Juno's signal. Everyone found that place very beautiful. Then while wandering there, Sarah saw blood-stained fingerprints on a stone, as if someone had tried to climb up but failed. But Sarah ignored that. After that, everyone entered a narrow tunnel. While passing through that tunnel, they reached a place that looked like a hall. It seemed as if nature had made someone's house. Juno lit up the place, and everyone started relaxing there. At the same time, Juno said in a regretful voice to Sarah, "Sarah, please forgive me. I came back to America the next day after the accident. I should have stayed with you." After hearing this, Sarah's wounds felt a little healed. She left without giving any answer and started looking for the next way. While searching, Sarah saw a tunnel. She shouted and called out to everyone, "Friends, I have found the second way. We should go ahead now." After hearing Sarah's voice, everyone started preparing to go into that tunnel. Then Rebecca came to Juno and said to her, "The Borum Caves that I had read about in the guidebook, this place is completely different from that." Juno said to her, "That is why I do not trust guidebooks. There is a lot of nonsense written in them." After that, all the girls started going into the new tunnel one by one. This tunnel was very narrow and wet. Slowly, everyone went through it. But in the end, Sarah got stuck in the tunnel. Sarah was not able to move her body, because of which she got a panic attack and started suffocating. Sarah started seeing her death. When Beth turned around and saw Sarah had not come out yet, she called out to her. Sarah answered in a hoarse voice, "I am stuck here." Beth said to her, "Sarah, be calm. Just take a deep breath and try to come out slowly." But even after a lot of effort, Sarah did not move from her place. Seeing this, Beth came back into the tunnel and started trying to pull Sarah out. But then that tunnel started to collapse from inside. Beth put all her strength into pulling Sarah out. But in this hurry, the bag of ropes was left in that tunnel. As soon as Sarah was pulled out, the whole tunnel was filled with stones, and that tunnel was completely closed. Because of that closed tunnel, everyone was worried. No one was able to understand how they would go back. Rebecca said to everyone calmly, "According to the guidebook, there are 3 ways to enter and exit this cave. We do not have to be afraid." She asked Juno for the guidebook, which had a map of the cave. Then Juno said to her hesitantly, "There is no use for this. Because this is not Borum Cave. This cave has no name. No one has come here yet. I wanted us to be the first team to explore this cave." Hearing Juno's words, everyone was shocked. First of all, they did not know whether there was any other way out of this cave. And second, Juno had informed the rescue team that if they did not return, the team should come and find them in Borum Cave. But this was not Borum Cave, so no one was going to come here to find them. Everyone was very angry at Juno's stupidity. But now there was no other option except to go ahead. They somehow found another tunnel. But after going a little further, that tunnel ended and a huge chasm appeared in front of them. The path ahead was on the other side of that chasm. Sarah threw a stone down and estimated the depth. Then she realized the chasm was very deep, and they did not have enough rope to cross it. Then Rebecca showed courage and grabbed a stone on the roof of the tunnel and hung from it. Then she fixed a climbing hook in a hole on the roof and attached a rope to it. In this way, she fixed a hook on the roof, tied a rope to it, and started moving forward so that the rest of the group could easily hang from the rope and cross the chasm. Somehow she reached near the other end of the chasm. Then she saw an old hook stuck on the roof. It seemed as if someone had tried to cross the chasm before. Rebecca attached her hook to that same old hook and crossed safely. After this, the rest of the group also came to the other end of the chasm with the help of that rope. Now only Juno was left. She thought she did not know how many more chasms would come ahead. That is why this hook and rope could be useful later. Thinking this, Juno, instead of simply hanging from the rope and crossing, tied one end of the rope to her belt and hooked it on the roof. Then she started moving forward while removing the hooks and rope. Somehow she removed 3 hooks. Now only 2 hooks were left. But as soon as she pulled the 4th hook, her grip loosened from the crack and she fell down while hanging on the rope. That rope was now stuck in the same old hook already fixed in the cave. But with the shock of Juno's fall, that hook also came out, and Juno started falling down. Fortunately, the other end of the rope was held by the rest of the group, so Juno did not fall into the pit. Her friends pulled her up. Juno's life was saved. That is when Sarah's eyes went to that old hook, which Juno still held in her hand. Sarah asked Juno how this hook came into this closed cave, to which Juno said, "It only means someone has come here before us, but this is at least a 100-year-old hook. No one uses such hooks now." After this, they again went through the tunnel and started deciding the way ahead. As they walked a little further, they saw some cave paintings on the wall, which seemed to be made by half-humans in the Stone Age. Everyone started looking at those paintings very carefully. That is when Beth's eyes found something in that painting that stunned everyone. Beth said, "The mountain seen in this painting is probably the same mountain whose caves we are stuck in right now. But according to this painting, there are 2 ways to get inside this mountain, which means we can get out through the other way." Hearing this, everyone's faces glowed with joy, and they all started moving forward looking for the way. But they had no idea that someone else was here besides them. All the girls were moving forward looking for the way, but after going further, the tunnel also ended, and there were only rock walls ahead. That is when Juno's eyes fell on a thin tunnel coming out of the middle of the rocks. Juno and Holly entered that tunnel. Holly saw light far ahead in the tunnel. She shouted and told everyone, "I can see sunlight. This is the way out." She thought she had found the way out. She quickly moved forward. In her hurry, she could not see the pit ahead, and she slipped and fell into that deep pit. Juno grabbed her hand, but even after trying countless times, she could not save her. Holly fell many feet into that pit, and her leg broke. By then, the others had also reached there. Then all the girls carefully got down into the pit. They saw Holly's leg bone had broken and come out, and Holly was in great pain. Then Sam, who was a medical student, started treating Holly with the help of the others. Meanwhile, Sarah heard some voices from one side. She turned around and moved in the direction of the sound. As she moved a little further, Sarah heard the sound of a growl from far away in the dark. She immediately pointed the torchlight in the direction of the sound. Then she saw a human-like shadow drinking water in the distance in the dark. Sarah was shocked, but the next moment, that shadow disappeared into the darkness. Seeing this scene, Sarah's heartbeat increased. On the other hand, Sam had given first aid to Holly's leg, but Holly was no longer able to walk at all. Juno explained to Holly that they were 3 kilometers below the ground. From where would sunlight come this deep? The glow she had seen was the glow of phosphorus, which is often found in such caves. Then Sarah reached them. She told the others, "I saw a human being in the dark. Maybe someone else is here besides us." To which Juno said, "There is no one else here. Fear is overpowering you, and in such situations, people often hallucinate, but you have to take care of yourself. The others also supported Juno's words. After this, everyone slowly moved forward in the tunnel with injured Holly. After a while, they crossed the tunnel and reached an open place. At that place, they felt something like wood under their feet. When Sarah looked around in the dark through the infrared camera of the handycam, her eyes widened. She said in a trembling voice, "Oh God, there are hundreds of dead animals here." Seeing this, everyone got scared. As soon as Sarah turned the camera towards Beth, her soul trembled. A terrifying figure was peeping from behind Beth. There was a bloodthirst in its terrifying face with open pointed teeth. It looked like a mixture of a ferocious animal and a human. Sarah screamed. The next moment, that ferocious creature climbed the walls of the cave at lightning speed and disappeared into the darkness, crawling like a spider. Seeing this, all the girls started screaming in fear. Those creatures attacked them. Out of fear, all the girls ran in different directions, but Holly could not run away due to her injury. At that moment, a ferocious creature clung to Holly. It pierced its pointed teeth into her neck and tore out a piece of flesh. Holly fell unconscious. Juno ran to save her and reached her, but that creature attacked Juno, pushing her away from Holly and dragged Holly away. That creature was very powerful, but Juno, out of fear and anger, overpowered it. She attacked that creature with an axe and killed it. Suddenly, she sensed someone behind her. She swung her pickaxe, but there was no creature behind her. Instead, Beth was standing there, and Juno's pickaxe pierced her neck. Juno lost her mind. Beth fell to the ground. As she fell, Juno's locket came into her hand. That is when a creature's roar echoed. Hearing that, Juno started running away. Beth stopped Juno and asked her to help her, but Juno was so scared that she left Beth in the same condition and ran away. On the other side, Sarah slipped while running in the tunnel and fell into a pit and fainted. When Sarah regained consciousness, there was a terrible stench there. When Sarah looked around the pit through the infrared camera, she found bones of humans along with animals. Some animals had freshly dead bodies. Sarah hid in a corner out of fear. That is when Holly's dead body fell from above. After that, many creatures fell on Holly's dead body like hungry wolves. Seeing them eating meat like this, Sarah lost her senses. Because of this, those devils realized that Sarah was there. One of them came very close to Sarah. Sarah got scared and fainted again. That creature stood there for a few seconds, but even though it was right in front of her, it could not see Sarah. That is when Juno's voice echoed, calling out for Sarah. Hearing the voice, they all left to hunt Juno. Sarah sat there for a while, holding her breath. A few seconds later, when she believed they had all gone, she stood up. Her legs were trembling, but there was no time to be afraid. She somehow pulled herself together and started preparing herself to deal with this danger. That is when she saw an old broken lamp there, which must have belonged to some unfortunate person who had been hunted by these creatures. Sarah shook the lamp and saw that it still had kerosene in it. She got an idea. She pulled out the iron rod attached to Holly's dead body. She covered it with a cloth, poured the kerosene from the old lamp on it, and made a torch. Then she set it on fire and left to look for a way in the dark cave. Juno was moving forward, calling out to the other girls. That is when she saw an arrow on the wall. She understood that whoever had come here before had found a way out, and to remember that way had made these arrows. If they followed these arrows, they could get out of there. After this, Juno started looking for the other girls. On the other side, Sam and Rebecca were also moving forward. Then a creature attacked them. It was about to kill Rebecca when Juno arrived and broke the neck of that creature and killed it. Juno told them that both Holly and Beth were dead. Then she asked Sam about those creatures. "What are these, and how can we fight them?" Sam, who was a medical student, examined the body of that creature and told Juno, "The structure of their bodies is similar to that of humans. But because they live in the dark, there are some changes in their bodies, like they cannot see, but their hearing power has increased a lot. They attack by hearing sounds." "But what are they?" Juno asked, to which Sam thought and said, 11,000 years ago, humans lived in such caves, but with time, humans left the caves and started living in solid houses above ground. But it seems that some humans continued living in these caves, and because of living in the dark for generations, the bodies of their descendants evolved in this way. Hearing this, Juno thought for a while, and then she started telling the next plan. "Whoever came to this cave before us made markings to get out. I have seen those markings. We can follow them and get out of here. We just have to stay silent so the creatures cannot hear us." After this, the three went ahead looking for Sarah. Sarah was looking for a way out of that pit. She heard the voice of Beth calling her. Sarah saw that Beth was lying in a very bad condition in the same place, and she had a deep wound in her neck. When Juno left her, perhaps the creature had brought Beth here, because this place was their food storage area. When Beth came near Sarah, she whispered that Juno had done this to her and left her to die. She told Sarah that she should never trust Juno. Beth also gave Sarah Juno's locket, on which it was written, "Love each day." As soon as she saw that locket, Sarah understood that Paul had given this locket to Juno, because Paul always used to say, "Love each day." Sarah quickly realized that Paul and Juno had been having an affair. As soon as she understood this, Sarah was deeply shocked and she started crying. That is when the voices of those creatures echoed again. Sarah heard them and quickly hid herself. She started waking Beth to take her along, but Beth, who was taking her last breaths, refused Sarah and started begging her to free her from this pain. Unwillingly, Sarah placed a stone on her heart and crushed her best friend's skull, ending her suffering. Sarah had not even recovered from this shock when a small creature attacked her from behind, but Sarah turned around and killed it. That is when the child's mother also came there. Sarah ran to save herself, but she fell into a blood-stained pit. The mother creature also fell into that pit and tried to hunt Sarah, but Sarah pierced its eyes with a pointed bone and killed it too. Sarah was furious about Beth's death. She stood there and screamed. On the other side, Juno, Rebecca, and Sam were moving forward searching for Sarah. That is when Juno saw countless creatures coming to hunt them. They all started running through a tunnel. Sam reached the end of the tunnel and saw that the path ahead was blocked. She started trying to climb the roof with her hands and move forward with the rope she had, but there was a creature hanging on the roof ahead. That creature attacked Sam and strangled her. Sam took a deep breath and stabbed the creature in the head with her knife and killed it. With this, Sam also died. Rebecca could not escape. Another creature attacked her and tore her stomach open. Seeing this, Juno jumped into the pit below. Coincidentally, there was water below. She did not get hurt. She swam to the edge and started climbing the wall. That is when Sarah reached there and pulled her up. Blood-stained Sarah's face looked terrifying. Juno told her about Sam and Rebecca's death. Although Sarah no longer trusted Juno at all, she deliberately asked Juno about Beth to see if Juno would admit that Beth had died because of her mistake. But Juno did not have the courage to admit the truth. She even blamed the creatures for Beth's death. After this, Sarah did not argue and told Juno to follow her. But as soon as they moved a little further, 3 creatures were already waiting there. They attacked both of them, but both of them killed those 3 creatures with great bravery and mercilessness. As soon as Juno killed one creature and stood up, she found Sarah standing in front of her. Sarah showed Juno her locket. Juno understood that Sarah had found out about her affair with Paul. The very next moment, Sarah drove a pickaxe into Juno's foot and left her there to die. Juno pulled the pickaxe out of her foot, but by then, many creatures had surrounded her. Juno's screams reached Sarah's ears while she was running, but she kept running without stopping. Then she slipped and fell into a deep pit and left and fainted. After some time, a little light fell on her face, which made her regain consciousness. She saw sunlight coming from a hole at the top of the pit. Hoping to follow that ray, she started climbing the slope and moving towards the hole. As soon as she put her head out of that hole, fresh air touched her face. She started breathing deeply. Then she got out of the hole, ran towards her car, sat in it, and started speeding away from the place. After coming far from that pit, she stopped her car. Thinking about whatever had happened in that cave, she started crying loudly. She could not control herself and vomited. As soon as she vomited, she sat back on the seat. Juno was sitting next to her. Sarah screamed in fear when she opened her eyes and found that she was still inside the pit. Actually, she had been dreaming all this. That is when she heard her daughter Jessica's voice. "Mom!" Sarah saw that Jessica was sitting in front of her with her birthday cake. Actually, Sarah was still dreaming. She had not come out of the pit. The pit was echoing with the screams of those creatures, and Sarah was just staring at the torch burning in front of her. She thought her daughter was sitting in front of her, but she did not know that a painful death was coming towards her. And with this, the film ended here. But the nightmare does not end here. There is a brutal part 2 waiting. Type "next" in the comments and I will upload the complete sequel story immediately. See you in the next recap. Thanks for watching.